Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Mediator with me, your host, Brian West. I've cleaned out the studio, the radio studio. I've got the welcome mat. I've cleaned my ears out. My nose is a little stuffy, but like I said, I'm here for you. I got you. Me and you together. We're going to go on this journey for an hour into the realms of mediation, the realms of the mediator, where it is my duty as the supreme mediator of the universe, giving my vocals and my emotions to everybody who desires, waking you up with the sensual smell of fresh news, the arrogance of greatness, the greatness of greatness is in mediation, and that's what I'm doing for you. I'm giving you great news stories, top 8 the headlines and developing news stories that made it throughout the week, just for you. I whip it up and cook it in the kitchen all week, and I bake it freshly made Sunday at from 4 to 5 p.m. On WSOM. So if you want to contribute, like I said during the show, all you have to do is go to METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, and all you have to do is buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something, or you could just sponsor a program. This is real simple. If you want to help out in any way, you could just go to the website and do what you want to do for you. It's real simple. Like I said, just go to METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. Or you can stop by the office. I'm at 5648 Market Street in Boardman, Ohio. I'm there from Monday through Friday, from 10 to 6 p.m. doing my duty, serving the community, consulting, all types of tech advice, publishing advice, music, giving people direction, and also fixing and doing intellectual property and videography. So many things that I've been able to do in my allotted amount of time on this planet. So like I said, if you want also the stories that almost made it to the mediator, and the shows, the stories that, if you want to see which stories made it in, like if you want to research, do your own research, you can just go to the website as well and check them out. If you want to tune in and you missed the show, we upload it throughout the week on the website. That's METHOD, the number 8, INC.com. Now, folks, there's just so much going on in the world, but it's time. Let me read a disclaimer real quick. These top 8 stories are only documented for records to highlight topics for those in the business of talk radio, talk media, and those who just want to stay informed. Now, ladies and gents, women, men, children of all ages, it is time for the top 8 stories. Story number 1 that made it to the media this week: why women and men issues keep hanging on in the headlines and in the news, period. Folks, there's just still a problem with women and men, and the most amazing thing is, locally we just had a domestic violence issue where a girl's boyfriend, I just do not want to leave out the fact that Violence Times Day was just this weekend, Love Day I always call it, and there's a father who is drawing awareness of domestic violence, not just between, just period, in the household, and not just, like I said, it's not just between women and men sometimes, but it's just in the house where children are involved. So this boyfriend, I'm not going to mention the girl's name, it's probably already painful enough, but she's passed away. She's gone. The boyfriend killed her, and I made this known a few weeks ago about how many women and men have been getting into it, how many women have been dying. They said over about 50,000 women died alone last year because, I mean, no matter how you want to put this, and how you want to make how this story crept in, is there's a really bad problem when women and men try to merge into society, and they have right now, they have so many rights, and there's so many stories not just popping up in favor of women, but there are stories that are popping up in favor as men as well, where some women are taking advantage of some men, and they're taking them for child support. They have a child, they don't want to be with the man, and they're taking. So this story is just blossoming because of the fact that it's staying in the news, and there's just so much that is not being talked about. I mean, there are things like when you see things happening and you see domestic issues happening within people's households, and people wonder like what actually happened, what went down. And me being a victim of it myself, when I was a child, there was always something going on, not even just in our house, but in our neighborhood. You see people arguing, they be slamming the door, setting. I mean, I remember one time I was in school and a girl set this guy's car on fire. I mean, we were right in the middle of school, and I guess him and her were having relations or something. And then on top of that, there's the fact that abortion is tied to this as well. So this story is gaining steam, and the fact that the church is kind of not as forceful because of science as it used to be. They're giving people medications, they're treating them for depression, and people are wondering why certain people are on drugs. Folks, there is something really happening when you talk about women and men getting along. I mean, it's such, when you talk about the dominance, the alpha males, and you look at just how we have had to evolve with women and men working together. So this problem is surfacing, and it's amazing because they're harassing women online. There was a story that made it. It said almost 143 million. And online, there were almost 143 million scams when it comes to online relationships last year. So this thing, and then there was a rape case with the Duke basketball player. They said 2 people came forward. Then you had Bill Crosby last year, and now you've got R. Kelly. So these issues are surfacing where males are trying to, we have that sexual appetite. It's there. I mean, I like women, and I tell my mother all the time. I talk to my mom, I talk to my dad. I say I gotta control the beast just like everybody else, and nobody. Sometimes people can't go to people. They can't talk to people. They don't know who to talk to because sexual. You shouldn't be ashamed of a normal human behavior. We are human beings. We want to have sex. There's even stories about military veterans where they'll say they'll have like PTSD, and they'll go out on these sexual ventures. They'll get somebody pregnant. Then and people are wondering. I hear a lot of harsh. You hear a lot of harsh radio where they're criticizing the people in the slums, in the ghettos, and they're saying they're having all these children. I mean, in reality, if you have nothing but time on your hands, you have little bit of money to do whatever you can. I mean, and you've got all these emotions, these hormones raging. I mean, what do you expect is going to happen? You got boys and girls, people spending the night over the house. I mean, there's even cases where you have teenagers having sex. I mean, having sex with little. This sexual thing is serious, and it's stirring up. It's been hanging on in the headlines, but another story that crept in was about how they're saying how women are having to sell their bodies. They said a nurse has had to sell her body so her family can survive. She's been, so this is, if you want to talk about some real stuff that's been going on, you could talk about women and men issues. This is some serious business. You had Harvey Weinstein, that story that surfaced. Hollywood, they've been talking about the casting couch. People you have seen in movies, the sexual behavior, the nastiness of just men and women could go on for days. This conversation could last. This news story could shoot up to number 8. Who knows? They're even talking about how Venezuelan women have been having to sell their bodies to battle for their life. Little children sold as sex slaves. Folks, this is real, and some men just cannot contain that sexual nature. I've seen a story that surfaced a few weeks ago about the really dark web, not the free porno sites that people can go to, but there is actually a really, really dark web where you have to put in special domain names, and you can see some of the harshest things done to people in life. I seen there was some information about it on something I was reading online, but then they have it where they're talking about this Brown signing Kareem Hunt, and they're saying that hitting women versus someone kneeling is forgivable. So women and men are battling it out in this new environment, and with more women being in political positions, having the authority to make laws, having the ability to vote, it's getting serious. Some say that the fraternities, the brotherhoods that are on college campus, the fraternities and sororities, that that their support system is probably more vast and more able to accommodate some of the things that even go on campus. Some of them even talk about hazing. Some of it, but this is, and the sad part about it, folks, is that this sexual stuff, this sexual beast that's inside of us, is not just happening in the normal world. It's happening within the church. There's a story that surfaced about Southern Baptists accused of sexual misconduct. Folks, this story is just in its developing stages, because as more and more data comes out, and as more people start to speak up about what's been going on behind walls, not border walls, but walls inside the house, inside the comfort zone. I've always, being wise and growing up around a lot of girls and a lot of boys in the family, I've as an older adult, I tell my cousins all the time, I say, if you got some little boy spinning over the house with your son, don't leave him alone with them girls, because some go. I'm telling you, it's a natural human nature to want to go and please the beast. That's, if you want to call it. In Egypt, they value sex. Sex was great, but in America, it could cost you. It could cost you a lot. It could cost you an empire. You done had big time business people being destroyed. Their whole kingdom they could have spent their whole lives building. Done. Football players' careers destroyed from domestic abuse. Did you have these guys who won't leave these girls alone? They stalk them. They have babies by them. They don't want to pay child support. They start killing and beating these girls. They take advantage of them. They spend their whole entire lifetime around these girls. They develop some bond. Some average loving person, loving man, try to earn this girl's heart. The next thing you know, he's fighting it out. So this is serious, folks, and it's crept into the top 8 this weekend. If you want to contribute anyway. Oh no, wait, really fast before I go to the next story. I meant to try to mention that some women have been trying to donate money, like Ivanka Trump. She's launched a $50 million program to empower women. But there was the fact is that when you have companies like they were talking about the culture even over in the East, with in the Middle East with Saudi, they have this app where Saudi men can track their wives. As Apple, and they're trying to criticize Apple and Google for carrying the app. Folks, this is some serious stuff. I even remember back a few weeks ago there was a story where this guy put a tracking device in his girlfriend. So story number 1, it as crazy as it may sound, this story may creep up into the top if these problems. And you could talk to the police force in the middle of the night when they've got to go to these domestic violence. When they've got to go to these the scenes, it's probably a mess. But if you want to contribute anyway, you're in the meeting with me, Brian West. All you have to do is go to method8inc.com, method8inc.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. It is my supreme duty every week. As a child, I was put up to the sun, born to mediate. No violence, no strife. I can go to the right, to the left, and still maintain my neutrality, and still have enough energy to give you my soothing voice every Sunday. It's all about mediation, calmness, spirit. I could calm you down. You know, if you want to do something crazy and you need somebody to talk to, just listen. We don't have to go back and forth. I'll guide you in the right direction. So if you want to contribute anyway, if you want to be a part of the mediator, all you have to do is visit the website. It's real simple, real easy. I don't ask for much. I really don't in this life. I've give it my all every day. So if you want to contribute anyway, method8inc.com, method8inc.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. We will be having a community fundraiser where we have a basketball thing going on. It'll be at the Jewish Community Center. This will be March 2nd. Doors will open at 9 o'clock. The games will start at 10. It's a community tournament to raise funds. 50-50. All you have to do is pay $8 and you got a chance to win that money back if your team wins the tournament. So then there'll be a 50-50 raffle. That's March 2nd at the Jewish Community Center in Youngstown, Ohio. So that'll be from doors open at 9. Basketball tournament starts at 10. So if you got children out there who want to try to get there, it's 13 and up, boys and girls. So let's get to story number 2. Like I said, you're in the media with me, Brian West, but let's get to story number 2 because folks, there's something going on. Story number 2: what does the East want? Folks, if you haven't been keeping an eye and you haven't been in tune with your religious inner child, if you probably would notice that the East and the West have been battling. The Middle East, just the East, the West, and the Middle East have been going through these war spasms for quite a long time. And people are just wondering, at the end of the day, and then you hear the president talking about withdrawing from Syria, and everybody's talking about the scale of what would happen if the United States were to leave that territory over in the Middle East. And then you think about the people that are actually awoke and who actually know what's going on. And then you had a congresswoman. Well, I think she's a Democrat, and she was making some comments about ISIS, and some people were trying to figure out what was her logical. But folks, there's something going on when it comes to religion in the Middle East and people's ideologies and the way people believe. And there's a lot of studies about how human beings become tribal and how we create these events in our minds and we bring them to light, and we bring them to light in some of the most hostile circumstances. And they're talking about this base in Iraq, and they're trying to use it to watch Iran. There is, I believe, there's something in the I think the negotiations between the United States and Iraq saying that we can't use their country for our own benefit for their neighbors. But I guess Iraqi parties now want the U.S. forces out. So, and then they're saying that Al Qaeda is growing again in Syria, and this is from a British intelligence chief. So we have to ask ourselves, what we've lent. The United States has done a lot of good for these countries, and that's one thing I can say, that like I said, even though the president, the current president, has his moments of complete insanity, the guy is bringing to light some things, because it's amazing how much we've tried to contribute to the world and how little we've gotten back. And you talk about the U.S. China trade breakdown, and how the talks may break without a deal. The talks about trade. And then you have the fact that there was another story that surfaced about a U.S. Air Force officer, Monica Witt. She's charged with spying for Iran. Then you had the dealings with the Obama administration, and the talk. We've tried to negotiate. We've tried to make peace for so long with these countries, and they continue to try to seek nuclear weapons. You have North Korea. I mean, U.S. commanders warned of little to no variable change in North Korea, their military capabilities. So we've been trying to mediate, and we've been trying to get along, and even with Israel and the Gaza Strip, and just with these nations, and and some people say we've been getting ripped off. And this story is surfacing because of people are just getting tired. You're sending your children over there. You don't know if they're going to come back. There's constant religious strife. So you leave, you take one force out, you have to put another force in. People just want some type of just truce to where it just can stop. I mean, we've built schools. There's not even enough schools resources in this country. They went over there, almost rebuilt Iraq. Toppled Saddam Hussein, came to the rescue of the aid of the people. And then you have this Jamal Khashoggi thing surfacing. Folks, it's just like, at the end of the day, people want to know what is going on in the East and in the Middle East. Why can't these people just get it together? And you get all these, they talk about the Holy Land, and you talk about prayer and love, and how God is a God of love. And it's like, what do you want? What does your God want? Does your God really want to see all of these people suffering? You look at Syria. All of those people had to leave the comfort of their home, destroyed because of Assad's using chemical weapons, and it's like, what do these leaders want? Did you look at Russia engaging? It's at the end of the day, most Americans just want to feed their families. We want a safe home, and we've got all of these problems being the great nation of the mediators, the great nation of diplomacy. And also, there's also been, we have a rap sheet of wars that we've had to engage in. They even have videos on YouTube. I think it's called Zeitgeist, where they talk about how many lives that American leaders and armies have destroyed. And you talk about conspiracy theories that have surfaced over the years. But the fact is that what would happen if there was no engagement with America? So like I said, you're in the media. That's story number 2. What does the East want, and what will go on over there? You've got people are there's just, the terrorist activity. You've got Al Qaeda, you got ISIS, and it just keeps going on. One terrorist falls, they send in 60 more new. So it's just ongoing, and it's like, when will this ever stop? Will it ever stop? This is why story number 2, if the Middle East, or the East period, China, North Korea, Russia, all those countries, if they continue to make headlines, who knows how? This impacts each coast of the United States. You have the West Coast and the East Coast, and every time something breaks out, it affects the West Coast and the East Coast military bases. So, like I said, that's story number 2. If you want to contribute anyway, you're the mediator with me, Brian West, where it is my duty to give you the top 8 headlines developing news stories that made it of the week. If you want to contribute, it's real simple, real easy. Every little bit counts. All you have to do is go to method8inc.com, method8inc.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. We also have a community event coming up March 2nd. Doors open at 9 a.m. at the Jewish Community Center, Youngstown, Ohio. We'll be having a basketball tournament for people 13 and up. So that's people involved. If you want to come out there with your family, you want to play some games, all it is $8 to get in, and the winners get 50-50 of the proceeds. And we also have a raffle ticket as well, so we'll be out there March 2nd at the Jewish Community Center in Youngstown, Ohio. Like I said, if you want to contribute anyway, you're on the media with me, Brian West, where it is my duty to give you the top 8 headlines developing news stories that made it throughout the week. So all you have to do is go to method8inc.com, method8inc.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something, or just sponsor a program. Let's get to story number 3. Why does everyone hate the IRS but love refund checks? Story number 3. We've got tax season rolling around, and there's a lot of confusion, a lot of anger and confusion about Trump's tax cuts, and they're blaming his tax plan for people not going to be. They're going to be upset because they're not getting as much back as they did because of as they did maybe last year because of the tax cuts. Now, let me explain this to you, okay? They say households are earning, but I guess in the plan it says households earning between $500,000 to $1 million will see an average income increase of 4.3%. This is after taxes. So this was what the plan was when Trump had the tax cut. And it is also, while households earning between $50,000 to $75,000, they would see their income increase by 1.6%. So the tax cuts that you're seeing is just evening out from with the increase that you got throughout the year. So that's about, the tax cut will probably give you about, say, maybe about $1,600 to $1,610 maybe, and that's what the tax policy center calculated. So there, what happened is, the reason why you may not see that much money coming back is because you were given an increase. You paid less taxes during the year, so it's trying to even itself out. But the fact is that what's really sad about the president's plan is that I see this vision. He felt that tariffs would bring down the national debt, which is sitting at $22 trillion right now. So he felt his vision was probably, if I give the citizens a tax cut and I pressure all of these businesses, and on top of that, the countries that have been cheating or using trade or abusing trade secrets and stuff like that, if I attach tariffs, then this would be able to give us more income for the government. But his plan so far, people are just saying it's not working, and even with the farmers, there are a lot of unhappy people. That's why story number 3 made it in. But even if people don't get their a big refund check this year, this will probably blossom into a bigger story because they'll probably blame this administration. I credit the president for trying. I mean, the guy is trying. He's trying, and it seems like maybe down the road, maybe this will, maybe it will get better. Nobody knows, but the fact is that people are projecting the national debt to keep rising, and the more it rises, the more prices, the more it costs, and the more taxes rises. So the government has to bring in income, and there's more people who have been cheating the IRS rather than paying the government its dues. So there's a love-hate relationship going in here where you don't want to pay but you want to take, and this is becoming a growing problem. And this is why story number 3 is such an important story in America, because people don't want to pay taxes, but they want everything. Most businesses have this problem as well. That's why most government jobs are the most secure, to where people don't want to pay. Everybody wants something for free. They want something at a cheaper price, and they don't want to pay. And it's hard. It's not like they don't want to pay. It's just that they may not have the money. So the system, no matter which way you do it, you could patch up something for one day, it's going to hit you back. I remember I had a bad account one year. I have to pay back taxes because so this was like years ago, and then I get a notice in the mail. So you can make arrangements with the IRS. They're pretty passive about it. They'll make arrangements with anybody, and they'll put you on a payment plan so everybody goes through these tax woes, and they think the world's coming to an end, and they start blaming but it's the fact that if you call them, and right now they're having so many problems because of the government shutdown. But that's story number 3, and that's why it's pivotal that you develop a relationship and an understanding of the tax-based system and how it works. The tax code is so complex that it can just send you in a web. That's why they have CPAs out there, certified public accountants, and you just got to watch, because there are a lot of people who do not know what they're doing, and they will bring you in by saying that you're going to get more money, when actually, in all actuality, they may be doing some things that they're not supposed to do, and it could bite you in the butt years later. So just be careful, because there's a lot of people out there claiming to be accountants and claiming to be certified public accountants, but they're just trying to make some money, and they may just be using a software, and you don't know this stuff. So just be careful out there. Like I said, if you want to contribute anyway, you're the media with me, Brian West, where it's my duty to give you the top 8 headlines developing news stories. That was story number 3. We're at the halfway point, and we're headed to story number 4 here in a second. So if you want to contribute anyway, all you have to do is go to method8inc.com, method8inc.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something, or you can just sponsor a program. It is my duty to give you the top 8 headlines, the big ones that are made throughout the week, so you can be informed. Being informed is so important. And I'm a gentleman. I'm a gentleman, a lover. I try not to fight. So I stay in the middle, and I look and see whose policies are right and whose policies are wrong, and what is right and what is wrong. So that's what leads us to story number 4. Real quickly, if you want to contribute once more, as method8inc.com, method8inc.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. I go through over 250 stories a week, sometimes I feel like in a day, to give you the top 8. So let's get to story number 4. Story number 4. Confusion on who is telling the truth. I'm going to wink my eye, and then I'm going to talk about the wall. So confusion on who is telling the truth. Wink, wink, the border wall. So the fact is, people, there's some things going on, and there's a lot of truth, and there's a lot of lies out there. And when they see the president speaking about the border walls, people are getting very, very concerned, because sometimes Donald Trump could go off into these speaking spells where he will say something that is really not fact. Is not a fact. He'll be lying, and then he gets his base really pumped up, And then the other side is it gets all angry. The next thing you know, these people go at it on Facebook, they go at it on the radio. And the fact is that somebody is telling the truth and somebody is lying. Now, me being a writer, I often make things up. I have to make things up all the time. I've done it. I've been writing for a long time. I'm not the best writer in the world. I don't consider myself to be, and I may not be the most skilled. But making stuff up can lead you into some an amazing adventure. And some people are saying that, they interview some people in El Paso, and they were talking about, these are Trump supporters, and some of these people are saying that the president has no clue what he's talking about when it comes to the border wall. And then there's also some other things that have been going on with this emergency declaration for a border wall. Some people are saying there is not that much going on at the border that the president is claiming, and everybody's sitting around, and I guess what we're saying is that if there was something going around, maybe this emergency should have been taken years ago if they'd have been keeping an eye on the activity going on underground with the tunnels. But right now, it's like you got somebody who just shows up to the party and tells everybody that somebody's coming in with a weapon when the party's coming to an end. So is everybody's like, what's going on? Like, should we be on guard? Should we be building bunkers underground? But what maybe do you have some type of evidence? People are saying there is nothing happening at this border. There have been people smuggling drugs in, but you see a lot of drug busts going on. But this is then he went on he was talking about Obama having beef with North Korea, and some of Obama's former aides are saying that there was never really nothing going on. So there may be a lot of fact checking going on in the news. Because lawmakers are very concerned about this funding for the border wall, and the fact that the debt keeps going up and up, and you could be using that money towards something other than the wall. And then he goes on these rants about Pocahontas, calling Elizabeth Warren like Pocahontas, and talking about Make America Great Again. And some people are wondering, what is fueling all of this rage between both sides? So if you know who Pocahontas was the first, I think it was an Indian woman who witnessed the slave trade. And this was before the Pilgrims came to America. But this is why this story is. And then there's people talking about, when you talk about racial issues, some of this president's behavior. You have when people. One thing I've always learned about life is that if somebody accuses somebody of something, there'll be maybe two sides of the story. So a while back we had this ESPN host, and she was talking about how the president was racist, and I was wondering, what is she saying? And then you have people on his side saying he can't be racist, or then he talks. So I guess people are trying to earn this stuff out, and you listen to some of the comments, you see some of the things that have been happening in the media, and it doesn't take away from the policies or the stance that he has wanting to support America, but there may be something serious happening within his chemistry, because it's affecting. And then you see him shouting out at the media, and it's creating a lot of separate entities with it. Then like I said, there's in the Matrix they have where you had people who are awoke and people who are asleep. The people who are asleep are starting to wake up because of the fact that there's an uproaring of new knowledge coming out. But they say that maybe sometimes you have to get people's attention, you have to ruffle their feathers. I don't know if this is strategic or not, but it's creating some buzz, because it's then you have guys like Mitch McConnell. He's saying that he wants Democrats to go on record about some of the things that they're bringing to the table. So it's a lot of confusion going on in the news right now. They're talking about the Trump investigation with Russia. Some say, one story you'll see where he's fine, he's got off, The next story you'll see that'll surface is saying that it keeps changing their story, that the Russian investigation is going on. So there's just a lot of things that need to be ironed out right now when it comes to each side claiming their stories, what is real and what is fake, and you're going to see that happening quite a bit. And this is why story number 4 is in the middle. It's right there, and it's just even with the like I told you about Jamal Khashoggi, there's some things going on within that, and who covered up the murder. So these stories are starting to get people to believe in conspiracies, and conspiracy gurus are sitting down and they're just like they're eating this stuff up because it's creating a ripple effect in the reality, in the news, and people are wondering what is actually happening and why is there so much confusion when it comes to these candidates and who's telling the truth, and the informed and the uninformed. And it's really creating a new type of culture in America. It really is. It's who knows how it's going to turn out, if it's going to be safe, or is it going to create something that is unnecessary, like what we saw the guy who comes on the job and starts and brings a gun, and so this is when you hear these stories about people getting lynched, and they're faking these lynch stories, and then you talk about mega hats in the media. So these little stories are creating so much confusion, and people are trying to clear things up, especially Trump's base, because they really have a lot of this guy really has a lot of support, and some people just don't understand why or what his intentions are, but it's creating confusion, folks. You're in the meeting with me, Brian West, where it is my duty, my supreme duty, to give you the top 8 headlines developing news stories that made it throughout the week. If you want to contribute any way, we're past the halfway point, and if you're just tuning in, and you want to catch the beginning of the show, all you have to do is go to the website. I uploaded during the week. It's at www.method8inc.com. And if you want to help us out in any way, or if you want to show some support, all you have to do is buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. We're at story number 4. Headed to story number 5. Story number 4 was confusion on who's telling the truth and what is actually going on with the border wall, period. Was in the just confusion within the media in the United States right now. And they're saying that this administration is causing it. So if you want to contribute, like I said, to me, to my cause, and to help me out as I continue to navigate the news just for you every week, giving you the top 8 headlines developing news stories, all you have to do is visit www.method8inc.com, method8inc.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something, or just sponsor a program. You're the mediator with me, Brian West, where it is my supreme duty to give you the top 8. And let's get to story number 5. Story number 5, why you should be concerned about how the world views government and authorities. There were a few stories that surfaced, and I just talked about Trump, but in Haiti, they're telling U.S. citizens not to travel there because there is an uprising. And then you remember the Yellow Vest protest that is still going on in France. So then we also have this Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and she was making some valid points about how political parties and candidates are funded. And she was going on this. There's a video that surfaced about her. She's talking about how it is easy for the person sitting in office, the president, to have so much power because of how the system is. Basically have these PACs, and they go and they give a candidate money, and so she's basically talking about the system, which is not bad. I mean, I give the girl credit, the woman credit, for bringing some things to light. And then people are talking about some of her just policies in general, some of her ideas, that they seem a little bit socialism. So I did a little bit of research. I looked her up, and there was some stuff about her giving out. Well, she said she was trying to give her boyfriend access to her calendar, so he was able to have access to her congressional email account. So then you have guys like Bernie Sanders, who was talking about making more people who are making more than $250,000 pay more for Social Security. You know, the system is very simple. The more people you have employed, the more the government makes. And when it's not that I can't say that the ideas are wrong. You know, we every American has a voice. There's nothing wrong with us sharing our ideas, but the thing is the changing and the ability to evolve as the system evolves, and the ability for government to be able to keep up with the system. And this may be what these Democrats are trying. I hope they mean well, but when you look at the things that they've been bringing up, when you're talking about taking away from the rich and the wealthy, and the fact is that when you live in a system that's supposed to even itself out, there has to be more of something people putting into the system for everything to play itself out. So obviously we have not been putting enough into the system. So when you talk about jobs, and when you talk about creating jobs, and when you talk about money that is not on the books, the underground market, so there's just a lot of this going on, and this talk is creating buzz, because like if you remember the movie The Matrix, they said that we used up all the Earth resources because of our consumption. But you have these people who are scaring people into believing that the world is actually coming to an end because of the fact that we've been destroying everything, which is the fact is that if you don't have oil, you don't have fossil fuels, there's not really a way to be able to have enough energy to feed or energy to supply all of the people's needs. So you're going to probably see this stuff happening in the news, where people are going to start trying to iron this stuff out, where you have all of these new ideas emerging. And it's not I don't think it's very wise for people to make money without earning it. That's the whole process of paying into the system. So these stories, and then the fact that you have in 2020, the Democrats are going to have to basically stand up for what they've been talking about, because of the fact that the United States has become more diverse, and they've catered to a lot of these people, and they're not going to be able to support all these people's agenda. So this is probably what you're going to see happening. So that's why story number 5 is very, very interesting, because of the fact that there's just something happening when it comes to authorities and government figures, and how people view government, and the reason why they upload or go into riots and uproar, because of the fact that something is wrong. But this woman is pointing out something that is factual, that the fact that people who have money give to these parties for their own benefit. So this talk may continue on. That's why story number 5 is really, really interesting. Let's get to story number 6. We're almost through. We're at the quarter mark. We have about 25% left of the show. So if you want to contribute anyway, you're the mediator with me, Brian West, where it is my duty to give you the top 8 headlines developing news stories that made it throughout the week, analyzing, shifting through, going through story after story, just for you, to give you the top 8. And that is important, that you may be able to understand, earning things out, keep it staying in the middle, not going too far to the left, not going too far from the right, but keeping it neutrals, keeping my car in idle, and just analyzing things, and not making too many strict judgments, trying to just get things, what they call it, when you go into the field, enlightenment. When you go out into the field and you're finally on that day where you just got to take a walk and just clear things out. Just clear your head. I'm just going to try to do that for you. So you're the mediator. If you want to be a part or contribute in any way, all you have to do is go to METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, methodating.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. Story number 6. So what effect has the U.S. had on the world, and what would happen if the U.S. would disappear? If you do not know, the United States has been giving a lot of aid across the world. And this is something that I can say that this administration is very, very concerned about, is putting America first. And it's amazing how people mainly recognize most of the bad rather than the good. And the question that you have to ask yourself is, has there been too much taking and not enough giving back? So this is the question. And is the United States ever getting paid what it's worth? And is this the reason why you see a $22 trillion deficit? So when you talk about not even just the citizens, but the fact that you have to cater to or make policies and treaties with the entire globe. So this story is gaining some steam because of the fact that this administration has been touting the America First agenda, making America great again, and the fact that the United States just delivered 200 tons of aid to Venezuela. And this is after there was some threats, and on top of that, Congress has had to be tougher on with sanctions on Russia. So there's just so many things happening that you have to ask yourself, what would happen if the United States didn't intervene in a lot of these conflicts that you see going on in the world? What if the United States didn't put an NBA basketball team in Africa? Or what if the United States didn't have a World Bank or able to engage in the world wars? And what if the United States was never developed? What if this country what if there was still Egypt and you still had the empires of Egypt? So the question now is, what will be of the image that people want to get to America? Is this still the land of the dream, where people can come and achieve their dream? And this story is slowly, it's been in the headlines quite a bit, and it's gaining some steam. Now it's time, that I said that it's time to get to the top two stories. So if you want to contribute anyway, that was story number 6, talking about the stands and how people view America. What would happen if there was no America? It'd be amazing. It'd be interesting, because I don't think people would have that idea, that goal, that vision of a place where you could be free, and not only that, but express yourself. There's just a lot of expression in this country, a lot of people with ideas who bring them to the light and get their ideas out there to the world. So if you want to contribute anyway, you're in the meeting with me, Brian West. All you have to do is go to METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, method8inc.com, where if you want to help out, all you have to do is buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something, or just sponsor a program. Let's get to story number 7. Can people make a living off suing people, and is this justice? Yes. If you haven't been keeping an eye on things, there's been some stuff happening underneath the radar, and there's lawsuits. There are a lot of lawsuits that are filed against the government, against government officials, not only just government officials, but businesses. I remember I was reading this book called Blindsided, and I think it was the DuPont thing back in the day, where the woman claimed that the chemicals gave her, made her baby, I guess her baby was born with no eyes. But people sue because of these things. And is suing people actually a good thing? Do you know there are people who come out with $9 million settlements from suing big corporations? You hear about people complaining about McDonald's who they say falsely advertises or abuses their advertisements to children. You hear about all these companies who start off with ambition. And is this going to destroy the American dream, or is it already destroying the American dream? Or when you have you may have forgot to salt the sidewalk, and somebody claims they just slips and they slip on your property, and they're so quick to sue. So many people are sue big corporations, some people who don't even understand money, don't understand what to do with a lot of money. And this story is because of the fact that now there are some legitimate reasons sometimes to sue people. There was a story that surfaced about an ex-sports radio host, and he scammed people out of more than $1 million. I even came across an artist this week, and he was talking about how he's getting advertisements from a place claiming that they're going to give him $5,000 a week. And then you get those phishing emails, and you don't know where they come from. There was a radio host locally, I think is Mo Ray. He was scammed out of some money. Well, they didn't scam him. They took his account number, his telephone number. So these stories, when you talk about suing and legality in this country, and how some people strike rich by suing people. This is and it now is starting to surface, like, should it be so easy, or should it be? I had some problems a few weeks ago where I was trying to calm a guy down, just trying to get in just to understand his logic, and the guy just started flipping out, and he started talking about lawyers and attorneys, so these things happen. And you talk about when you see how even with the data issue with the internet companies, and they were talking about, I guess some Californians are talking about how companies who use data should be paying the people whose data they're using. So there's just a lot going on, even with The butterfly conservationists, they're asking the court to stop border wall construction because the border wall is on other people's property, and the government should have the right to be on other people's property or building walls on other people's property. You see it all the time where these big time corporations come in and they buy out people's property, buy people off their land. Should people be able to sue for that? Big time oil companies, when some big oil rig explodes. So these new these things that have been happening for so long unattended, or not, people not keeping an eye on them, are starting to really create conversation on how people abuse the system and how, when people sue, what happens. So this is, and then they talk about there's a story that surfaces about how the feds are spending $48 million to move a man's village, but he doesn't want to go. And then there was a story that surfaced about a Delaware woman who won a $1.5 million breastfeeding discrimination case against KFC, the KFC franchise. So people are suing these companies. We had a while back where somebody sued McDonald's for some hot coffee. And business people who own businesses are they're trying to achieve, or they come into communities and bring in their business model. They don't want to be sued, folks. And there's a lot when you talk about greed and that the people wanting to be wealthy, they will do amazing things. Even in entertainment, people get sued for intellectual property rights all the time, and lawyers go in there. The next thing you know, the person gets the money. They don't know what to do with it. And the fact is that then you have arbitration where people just talk it out. Should the system be changed around where people just talk things out rather than money being involved? Because right now there's too much money that is not being directed into the right places, and there's too many people who are trying too hard to become rich, and they're soaking the life out of people who just want to live ordinary day-to-day lives, and they're also taking advantage of them as well. When you have automatic payments, bank drafts, so much going on, and some people just cannot keep up, folks. I have to keep an eye out even on some of my family members. So story number 7, that's why it's in the top 2 stories. Let's get to story number 8, the top story that made us to the meeting this week. Like I said, you're in the meeting with me, Brian West. If you want to contribute anyway, all you have to do is go to METHOD, method8inc.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. Story number 8, is the economy really doing that well? With a business versus a businessman in the White House. So business-wise, is the economy really doing that well, as if everybody's saying it? And the reason why this headline is amazing is because of the fact that if you come up north, there have been so many businesses closing, big-time store chains going through bankruptcies, and people are wondering if the economy really is doing that well. Now, people are saying that the economy is doing well, but there's just a reality that people are really suffering out there. These numbers are maybe very deceiving. They're saying that the jobs are there, but they don't have the people to fill them. Is this data true? And this is why story number 8 will probably it'll probably stay in the headlines, because of the fact that people are living paycheck to paycheck, and they have a job. Some people are losing their job. You just had the guy in Illinois who went on the shooting rampage because he lost his job. So the question is the economy really doing that well? You have plants shutting down. You have people losing jobs. So the question is, this is why story number 8 is the big question. Is that we wanted a business person with somebody with a business mind in the White House. We got it, but the fact is that up north, right now you're seeing a lot of people going through it, and the question is the economy doing that well? And that's why story number 8 is going to keep gaining steam, because people want some real facts, and the question is are we really in a good position, and are we projected to stay in a good position in the next few years? Because of we just need data. I think people need more data. Some local stories that made it in Valley Rep. Tim Bryan says he'll run for president if he thinks he can win. Another story, consultants, Youngstown School Board, they will meet to discuss the CEO, I guess, some criteria. Boys and Girls Club to receive a $500,000 grant. Folks, I want to thank you so much. Those are our top stories that made it in, and like I said, the top story that will probably be on everybody's mind is there's just so much confusion, and people want to know what's really happening, and is their future secure for their children, for their GI bills, the national debt. Are we headed in the right direction? All of this political theater, all of this craziness, people want some real facts, and they want to know that their future is secure, especially investors. People are investing, and you don't like when people are manipulating things to get something out of you, and you're not getting a return on your investment. Like I said, this today's show, when you talked about the suing and all, these are really facts. So like I said, I want to thank you so much for tuning into the media this week. If you want to contribute in any way, all you have to do is visit our website, method, the number 8, inc.com, methodinc.com. I want to thank you so much for tuning in this week, and just try to, like I said, try to find something great happening, and try to keep a level head, and have a good week, everybody. Thank you for tuning to the media with me, Brian West. Enjoy your week. Have a good week. I'm out.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The mediator is here.